Live from KSAT12, the news at noon starts right now.
Less than 1 year after the Supreme Court overturned the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, the country is once again awaiting a high court decision on abortion.
This time it's being asked to stay or toss out a Fifth Circuit court ruling that would restrict access to the abortion pill. ABC's Justin Finch reports the court's temporary stay on that decision expires tonight at midnight.
Advocates on both sides of the abortion debate are anxiously waiting to learn how the Supreme Court will respond to this latest attempt to restrict abortion access. Justice Samuel Alito issued a short stay preserving the ability of health providers to freely provide the abortion pill mifepristone under existing FDA rules to women in states where abortion is legal, as the Supreme Court considers what to do next. That stay runs out at midnight. The Supreme Court asked to intervene by the Justice Department after a Texas federal judge's ruling reversing the FDA's decades-long approval of mifepristone, upheld in part by the Fifth Circuit, including a prohibition against women receiving the drug through the mail. Further confusing things, a ruling by a federal judge in Washington state barred the FDA from reducing mifepristone access in 17 states and D.C. This has led to strong reactions from lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
I don't like a district court judge issuing a national decree, even if I agree with the judge. But at the end of the day, we're a rule of law nation, and let's see what the Supreme Court does with this.
You've got it safe in 60 countries. It's used in over half of the abortions. One judge from Amarillo, Texas, two judges on the Fifth Circuit, all of them Trump appointed, should not be making the decision for women across the country.
Lawyers for those favoring restrictions on the pill are urging the high court to leave the Fifth Circuit stricter guidelines in place. The Biden administration and mifepristone maker Danco Labs warn the Supreme Court of major disruptions if a stay is not issued today. According to CDC data, mifepristone is the method used in the majority of abortions in the country. And the High Court has a number of options today, including keeping the drug on the market as it takes up the case or siding with restrictions imposed by the Fifth Circuit. At the Supreme Court, Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
We are keeping an eye on the skies right now in San Antonio. We're expecting some changes, and there was also mention of the word hail.
Maybe. We could see some isolated storms next couple days that could involve some hail, but it's not going to be a widespread issue, so we're not going to be too concerned about that right now. Let me first start with some weather headlines. We've got cloudy skies. The sun is trying to shine through in a few spots. So when we're talking about the potential for strong storms, today it's mainly out west along the Rio Grande. And that's where we could see one or two strong storms, potentially with some hail, but they'll be isolated. We get higher odds of rainfall tomorrow, area-wide, and there could be a few strong storms tomorrow afternoon. Then we have a couple dry days before we hit Sunday, where rain chances return. And as of just about an hour ago, we've raised rain chances now for Sunday, so we want you to be aware of that. 75 degrees and cloudy right now. Dew point is at 67, and it's humid. South-southeasterly winds at 16 continue to usher in a ton of moisture and a lot of cloud cover. Still mostly cloudy. There are some breaks here and there, but not many. So it'll be a mostly cloudy day. A little more sun by the afternoon, but more clouds than sun for sure. 82 in Del Rio, where there is more sun at the moment. 80 in Gonzales, 77 Kennedy, 78 Pleasanton, 75 here in San Antonio. And those temperatures highly dependent on whether or not we see some breaks in those clouds. But I think we do, and that'll get temperatures into the 80s today. 77 right now at Stinson. Our KSAT 12-hour forecast, mostly cloudy, up to 82. We do add in some small rain chances this afternoon to account for anything that develops out to the west of San Antonio. And then tonight into the 70s, humid. We start off with fog and drizzle tomorrow morning, and then we enter into those rain chances tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk more about that and the rest of your Fiesta forecast coming up in just a couple minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. San Antonio police looking for a woman who has a gun and other people's stolen property. They say she robbed two people, then shot one of them in a West Side neighborhood.
Katrina Weber tells us why police say the victims are not making it easy for them to solve this case.
In the shadow of the Golden Arches, black and white patrol cars seal off a crime scene in the 4400 block of West Commerce. It's where San Antonio police say they found a woman before 11 last night suffering from a gunshot wound. They told us she was a passenger in this pickup. one of two women to whom the 20-year-old driver says he gave a ride. But they say one woman had crime on her mind and a gun in her possession and used it to shoot the other woman. The victim and man ended up at McDonald's looking for help. According to officers who were here at this scene, the gunfire actually broke out at an apartment complex not far from here. They say the victims told them that once they brought the suspect to that location, she pulled out a gun, robbed them, and started shooting. As paramedics rushed the 22-year-old shooting victim to a hospital, police searched in and around the apartment complex but did not find the shooter. They say both the pickup owner and shooting victim told them they didn't know the woman with the gun, but police say beyond that, both of them were uncooperative, refusing to give them the clues they need to solve this case. Katrina Weber, KSAT12 News.
San Antonio police investigating an overnight crash. A man driving his car right into a Mama's Margie's restaurant on the northwest side. Police say this happened just before 4 this morning in the 9500 block of Interstate 10 West. That's near Wurzbach Road. The man crashed his vehicle into a window at that restaurant. Police are investigating whether the man had any signs of being intoxicated while driving. No one was hurt. Shots rang out during a drive-by shooting last night on San Antonio's east side. It happened just after 9 in the 300 block of Kinmar. That's near East Houston and I-10. San Antonio police say a woman was hurt. She was either grazed by a bullet or hit by debris. Police said they found around 30 shell casings in the street. No other injuries were reported and no suspect information was given. And 2 pets were not able to make it out of a fire that happened overnight on San Antonio's northwest side. It happened on Mountain Spring Drive, not far from Babcock Road. When firefighters got there, there was heavy smoke coming from a triplex. Crews were able to get into the kitchen and get that fire out pretty quick. 4 people got out safely. However, a cat and a dog did not make it. Investigators are looking into the cause of that fire.
As the state of Texas nears the 1-year anniversary of the massacre at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, lawmakers are taking a small but significant step toward gun control legislation. They did it yesterday. A House panel met to weigh in on more than a dozen bills, many of which could lead to arms control. Among them is a House bill from Representative Tracy King, whose district includes Uvalde. His bill would ban individuals under the age of 21 from buying semi-automatic rifles. This directly targets situations like Uvalde, where the shooter legally purchased those kinds of weapons on his 18th birthday. This type of legislation is something that the families in Uvalde have been fighting for since the shooting. Garcia's guardian, Brett Gross, has tweeted his frustrations over the delay in all of this. He spoke to KSAT before the committee resumed its hearing.
We're used to people trying to get us to shut up, and they will find out quickly, just like everybody else, that we do not back down. We do not shut up. We are fighting for our kids and for kids across the state. I'm going to make enough noise so that they will hear us, because we're not going away. If I have to sleep here tonight, I will.
According to a tweet by Brett Cross, Uvalde families were able to finally testify late last night. Beyond yesterday's hearing, there are still several hurdles to overcome before any gun control legislation could pass. And even if the House does pass that bill, its odds of passage are even slimmer in the Texas State Senate. After nearly 2 years of creative work, some middle school artists are finally getting a chance to show off their work, and it's going to be a permanent part of the school.
And a 12-year-old took home the grand prize in a design contest. Now his journey to create a winning piece started with a broken 3D printer.
You gotta love it when out of the grip of failure comes success. A 12-year-old from San Antonio won a national STEM 3D printing competition by designing a pin honoring military veterans. Very nice. Alyssa Cole caught up with him to learn how he plans to use his science skills in the future.
7th grader Daniel Grinman is the grand prize winner of the We Heart Veterans Pin Design Challenge.
My design kind of came straight for the heart. Most of it was just what I thought. I decided to try and represent all the branches in one pin because I didn't want any to be left out.
The patriotic pin shows the 6 military branches with the Space Force symbol in the middle.
But I also did take some inspiration, of course, from the American flag. And I did have to do a little bit of research on the different branches.
Out of 10 finalists, his design was chosen. Daniel's family have watched his skills develop ever since his teacher gave him a broken 3D printer last year that he successfully repaired.
And I'm really excited for what he makes in the future. I know that he wants to join the robotics club later on that I'm in. And so we're really excited to have him later with the experience that he already has.
Grateful for the recognition, he plans to move forward by expanding his skills in engineering.
The definition of engineering actually is creating something to help solve a problem. I feel like I really want to be a part of that.
Daniel will attend a special Memorial Day event in Columbus, Ohio at the National Veterans Memorial and Museum. The Army Educational Outreach Program and Future Engineers will also donate a new 3D printer to Daniel's school, library, or organization of his choice. Alyssa Cole, KSAT12 News.
Colorful Fiesta-themed art, now a permanent part of Briscoe Middle School. Students work to create a mural using painted tiles. The picture created by the tiles is a collage of student artwork. Their art teacher tasked them with creating pictures about what Fiesta means to them.
Through the process, students were sharing their stories, sharing their experience of San Antonio, sharing just some of them their culture growing up in San Antonio. And so it was really quite of an experience altogether. If you kind of look at the big picture, how it's brought us all together a little closer to kind of celebrate the spirit of Fiesta.
The 24-panel ceramic tile mural was unveiled today. Their teacher says getting to the finished product was a nearly 2-year process. It actually started when Briscoe Middle Schools won in the school category of the first citywide porch parade.
And speaking of Fiesta, if you're trying to build up your medal collection, well, you have a chance to pick up a Weather Authority medal. It's going to happen later on today. Sarah Spivey and Mia Montgomery are going to be handing them out today at Crockett Park. You can start getting in line at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and the medals are going to be handed out starting at 6 tonight. These are much sought after.
So go down there and get yours and meet Mia and Sarah if you haven't met them yet.
Yeah, they're good people.
That'll be a fun night.
Confirm.
You can confirm that.
I can confirm. Good people. Yeah, a lot of fun. We're heading into Fiesta, right? We've got to watch the forecast closely. We're also keeping an eye on the aquifer, which rebounded today after a big drop yesterday. We're up 0.8 of a foot to 634.8 in your pollen count. Everything's low for the first time in a long time. We like seeing that. What about our rain chances? Do they stay low? We'll look at that coming up.
Little windshield wiper workout this morning. Tested them. They work.
They work. You might need them tomorrow. Am I right?
There's a chance. I don't want everyone to think it's going to be a washout. We're not really expecting a washout next few days, but our rain chances do go up tomorrow. And I want to start with rain chances, and here's what you can expect. And we updated these. Mia, Sarah, and I kind of sat down and really went through the models, and I think tomorrow night may be our best opportunity. We're putting in a 30% chance tomorrow. Thursday night, 40% chance. And then rain chances really do fall off Friday night, Saturday, even Saturday night. So that stretch is going to be pretty nice. Then we bring them back in on Sunday, 40% chance of rain. And those are rain chances that we've brought that number up. So just be aware. Those are kind of what we're thinking as far as zeroing in on when our next best chance of rain will be. 75 right now at the airport, 77 Stinson, 76 Kelly, 77 at Randolph. And look at the winds out of the south-southeast. They're breezy, but they're ushering in a ton of moisture off the Gulf of Mexico. And here's a quick look at the radar. There's nothing there. We had some drizzle earlier, but nothing to see at the moment. Now, we will be kind of focusing on the Rio Grande later this afternoon. That's an area where we could get some storms coming out of Mexico that could be strong to severe. So far, nothing developing right now. We just have the morning low cloudiness that's still hanging around. And there are some breaks here and there, but not many. And I don't know that we'll see a whole lot today, so mostly cloudy day. Where you do see some sun, though, temperatures have jumped up. 80 in Gonzales with a few peaks of sun there. Same story in Del Rio where it's 82. But underneath the cloud deck, 69 in Kerrville, 78 Hondo, 78 right now in Pleasanton, and we're right around 75, 76, 77 here in town. Dew points I probably don't need to tell you this, but they're very high. It is super muggy out there. When you start getting dew points in the 70s, which is what we're seeing over at Randolph and close to that in Seguin, you get into the oppressive category. It's where we live most of the summer. It's feeling like that outside, very, very sticky. And that moisture is getting transported north, so it results in low clouds from Dallas, eastern parts of Oklahoma, all the way down into where we are. You get out in the West Texas, where things are drier, skies are clear at this hour. So here's a look at our forecast. And we'll jump to 8 p.m. Notice this model develops one of those rogue storms there off to the west. And these are the kind of storms that can quickly go strong to severe. Large hail will be the main threat. And we're going to watch from that Del Rio down the Eagle Pass. That should dissipate overnight, so I think the overnight period's pretty quiet. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, clouds fill back in. We could deal with some drizzle and fog, just like we have last couple of mornings. And then by the afternoon, we start to see isolated to perhaps widely scattered showers and storms. This is 3 p.m. tomorrow. And you see some of the showers and maybe storms developing there. We continue that into the evening hours. This is 6 o'clock, 30% chance of rain, but some of these storms could become a little bit more robust. There is a threat for severe weather. There's a couple of strong storms coming up tomorrow. We do need to mention that. It's low end threat, but it is there. And as we get into late Thursday night, early Friday morning, so this is midnight, we've got potentially a line of showers and storms that we'll work through. We may get the tail end of it. So that's something else to watch. But I think most of Friday is really pretty quiet. Our rain chances really do taper off and really quickly move south and east. So Friday looks to be an okay day. The severe weather risk today is out west. So this area is shaded in pink on a scale of 1 to 5. It's a 1. It's low end, but it is there. And then tomorrow, the entire area will be under a risk for some stronger storms. And then that transitions off to the south and east as we get into Friday along that front. So here it is laid out in 7-day forecast. 84 tomorrow, 30% chance of rain. We bring it up to a 40% chance late Thursday evening into the overnight hours. And then Friday, 87 windy. Turns cooler on Saturday, at least a little bit, 80 on Saturday. But Sunday, 67, that's it, with a 40% chance of rain. And we'll get some small rain chances continuing on Monday and Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Now, we just wait for the schedule to come out to see when the Spurs will be playing their 2 home games in Austin next season, and then the season after that. It is a done deal. Bexar County Commissioners allowing them to play 3 home away from home games during each of the next 2 seasons. 2 of those in Austin at the Moody Center and 1 internationally, like they did this past season in Mexico. One big concern for Spurs fans, they played their last 2 home games of the season in Austin. Spurs Sports Entertainment CEO R.C. Buford talked about that concern.
We are working, building a puzzle that not only involves San Antonio and the AT&T Center, the NBA, but also the University of Texas and OVG. It's a puzzle that it's multiple different groups that we need to activate with, that we need to partner with to build it out in the best interest of everyone.
So hopefully they get all the pieces to the puzzle and then get them all together. The next big event this season, the draft lottery, coming up on May 16th. We'll find out where the Spurs pick in the upcoming draft. Just like the Rockets and Pistons, the Spurs own a 14% chance to win the first overall selection. Their chances drop slightly for picks 2, 3, and 4, and then increase for picks 5 and 6, with the 6 being their best shot at 26%. The Silver and Black will pick no lower than 7th, regardless of what happens. The UTSA tried to stay in the top 25 of the baseball rankings. It was an I-35 showdown against Texas State at home last night. Bobcats up 1-0 in the top of the 5th, 2 out, 1 on. Davis Powell drives 1 deep to center, and that's gone. 2-run shot. Texas State up 3-0. We go to the top of the 6th, up 3-1. Cade Manning rips a shot down the right field line. 2 runs coming to score. It's now 5-1 Bobcats. Roadrunners answer back in the bottom of the frame. Josh Killen knocks a base hit into left. Matt King rounds 3rd. He's headed home to score, but UTSA cannot complete the comeback. Texas State wins their 5th straight game, 5-3.
Davis came up with a really clutch hit and got us going, and so finally got us to take a deep breath a little bit and go play.
Big momentum shift. That's obviously a good team, and we'll hopefully carry it into this weekend against Troy.
Texas State travels to Troy for a 3-game series starting on Friday. UTSA will head to Florida International. And in the Texas League, San Antonio opened a 6-game series in Corpus Christi last night, and the Missions beat the Hooks 3-1 in 10. SA now 4-6 on the season.
Way to go. Go team. Coming up, it is the largest multi-specialty robotic surgery program, and it's right here in the Alamo City. How robots are helping doctors perform life-saving procedures and inspiring students who are hoping to break into healthcare.
And we cannot wait for this SA live show today. The Air Force Band of the West. You can see them setting up right there. They're going to perform on SA Live in just about a half hour to 45 minutes. Mike and Fiona are there, and we'll talk to them here in a few minutes.
Very busy there today. What's in your drinking water? Turns out we're all drinking what are called forever chemicals. They are cancer-causing chemicals that never, ever break down. Under new EPA rules, that's going to change, but there's not a date set in stone for it. So coming up today at 5, Marilyn Morris explains how swapping out some of your clothing and your cookware now won't just help you in the long run, but everyone else as well.
The 84-year-old Kansas City man charged with shooting a 16-year-old teen has been released on a $200,000 bond. Andrew Lester was released from custody. He was charged with felony assault and armed criminal action. According to court documents, Lester told investigators he had just gone to bed when he heard the doorbell and picked up his gun. He says he saw a black male pulling on the storm door handle. He says he pulled the trigger because he was scared to death of the teen's size. Lester claims that no words were exchanged, but Ralph Yarl told police that he never touched the door. He says he was immediately shot in the head and fell to the ground and then was shot in the arm.
Ralph is going to be alive to see justice, which is so important because a lot of moms are fighting for justice after they don't have their kid anymore.
Family members say Ralph is able to talk and is expected to make a full recovery.
The House of Representatives set to vote on a GOP-led resolution to block a Washington, D.C. policing bill that is aimed at accountability and reform. This comes shortly after similar measures sparked tension and division among Democrats. In March, President Biden said that he would not veto a different resolution to rescind a D.C. crime law. This time, the White House issuing a veto threat ahead of the House vote on blocking the policing bill. Republican supporters of the new resolution call the D.C. Policing Act an anti-police law. They say it would weaken law enforcement's power to respond to crimes. Democrats have long argued Congress should not be interfering with the D.C. city government, and they have defended reforms outlined in that bill. All eyes on the Supreme Court as it decides on a blockbuster medical abortion case. The court is expected to hand down an order on whether to let lower court rulings stand. That would restrict access to mifepristone, a drug used to terminate pregnancies. The case challenging the Food and Drug Administration's approach to regulating the drug. The Supreme Court's decision not only determines the access abortion seekers have to the medication, but it also raises questions about what kind of authority the FDA has to determine a drug's safety and appropriate rules of use.
Strep infections in the U.S. surged this winter, especially among children. Infections were up nearly 30% from their pre-pandemic peak. That is according to the Epic Health Research Network. It also says preliminary data from early March shows a continued upward trend. The findings are based on electronic health records from thousands of clinics and hospitals. Methodist Healthcare is home to the largest multi-specialty robotic surgery program in the United States. They perform heart surgery without having to open the heart, but by magnifying the issue times 10 and using robotic arms to conduct the procedure. Max Massey gives us an inside look at Methodist TechStand's system that is helping San Antonio and inspiring local students.
This is the camera that goes inside. Then you have right arm, left arm, and you have an extra arm that can help expose for you.
Meet Dr. Renata Ford, a robotic heart surgeon.
You pinch like this, and then you can actually move. So you can do things like pass instrument from one side to the other.
Dr. Ford is walking us through how, when you look through this lens, you're essentially authorized to perform surgery with these robotic arms.
It allows a minimally invasive approach to surgery, allowing for faster recovery times, sending patients home same day, if not the very next day.
The director of surgical services tells us robots like these, they're being used to perform complex surgeries all around the country, and they can be a huge benefit.
Helps with surgeon fatigue instead of a surgeon holding those instruments, for hours on end trying to perform a surgery, they can, the robot will hold the instruments for them.
Transferring of your movement into the tip of the robot, and the acuity, you see 10 times more with the camera. So it's much more precise.
So not only are these robots being used now for things like heart surgeries, but they're also influencing and inspiring the youth here in San Antonio.
Very refreshing to see them excited about it, excited about the technology, and also not thinking, man, we're gonna have to open somebody's chest to fix their heart.
Health Careers high school students were invited to explore the Da Vinci device. And Dr. Ford says these robots, they actually might spark the next generation of medical leaders.
The newer generations, I think, they get very excited with the technologies.
Max Massey, KSAT12 News.
Taking a live look outside with live cam. Lots of clouds out there today. Temperatures not really reflecting what we want to see, which would be dry, cool air. It's actually really muggy out there.
That's a big ask for late April, though, Ursula.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, temperatures are going to warm up into the 80s today. We could get some cooler weather by Saturday. So there is that. And we've had a couple cold fronts that have. We can. We're going to keep our fingers crossed anyway. I want to show you a picture here on our KSAT Connect. That is a chrysalis. The monarch caterpillar produces the chrysalis, of course, comes out as a monarch butterfly. Always cool to see this time of year. And that's a really cool shot. We appreciate that. Of course, Sarah Costa, if you remember last year, she tracked the timeline of all of this, which is pretty awesome. We love to see the monarch butterflies around here. As we look at the live radar, not much going on at the moment. In fact, things are pretty quiet. We're going to be keeping our eyes out west this afternoon. Threat of some strong storms, isolated, not a huge risk, but it is there. Hail would be the main threat if we do get some strong storms going later today. And here's a look at the KSAT 12-hour forecast. 80 at 3 o'clock. 82, 5 p.m. We do add in some small rain chances there, mainly west of I-35, and then clouds fill back in tonight. And we'll have a little better opportunity at some rain tomorrow. And of course, Fiesta gets underway. If you're curious about your Fiesta forecast, we just sent out a push alert via the KSAT app, KSAT weather app, with some details on some of the events and what you can expect weather-wise if you want to check that out. We'll, of course, have more on the rest of your forecast, too, coming up here in just a couple minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Now to that historic settlement on that $1.6 billion defamation case against Fox News. The 11th hour deal coming just as that trial is getting set to get underway between Fox and Dominion Voting Systems. ABC's Morgan Norwood on the settlement and what's next for Fox.
Fox News will pay $787 million to Dominion Voting Systems in a settlement that just narrowly avoided a trial in the voting machine company's lawsuit that would have further exposed how the news network spread lies about Dominion and the 2020 presidential election that Dominion says it knew were false.
The truth matters. Lies have consequences.
Fox admitted no wrongdoing, but said in a statement, "We acknowledge the court's rulings finding certain claims about Dominion to be false."
Fox News did apologize. We got them to be held accountable, and we got them to pay us a historic settlement amount.
$787 million is short of the $1.6 billion that Dominion had asked for, but it is the largest settlement of its kind. All of this after watching Fox News hosts and guests repeatedly make false claims about its voting machines being rigged to favor Joe Biden over Donald Trump. Fox News host Laura Ingraham and others now won't have to testify.
I would love to have questioned the Fox hosts on the stand, but I think that as we've all seen over the last several months, the truth about Fox has come out, and we feel very vindicated with the result that we got at summary judgment and the result that we got today.
The judge had already decided what Fox News aired was clearly false and damaging. What the jury would have had to decide was whether Fox recklessly disregarded the truth. All eyes now on Fox News Channel and how it moves forward.
It's a big step forward in democracy if we can, our system can send a signal that if media companies lie, whoever they are, on whatever channel it is, and they do so knowingly, they will be prepared to pay a very, very high price.
And look, Dominion is not done yet. There are separate lawsuits against Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and Mike Lindell. They're also going after conservative media outlets Newsmax and One America News Network. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
A pair of moms using gently used clothing to make money, how they've been able to grow their business, and the advice they have for folks looking to start their own businesses.
A driver delivering a pizza with a side of justice, how he was able to multitask, helping police while dropping off the pie.